video, I'm going to show you my exact blueprint on how I mastered Eddie Van Halen's Beat It solo in just 7 days. But here's the thing that you need to know. I honestly never thought that I would be able to play an Eddie Van Halen solo, let alone one of his hardest solos in my opinion from Beat It. I mean, since I was 14 years old, this solo was not even possible in my head. So how did I finally master it in just 7 days? Well, I used a very specific practice blueprint that I'm about to show you. And just so you know, this blueprint is what helped me actually master the intro to Cliffs of Dover as well, which I also thought I would never be able to play. And that's the best part. No matter what skill level you're at, you can actually use this blueprint to start mastering solos that you never thought were possible. Now, this is a 5-step blueprint, and every step is crucial, so pay close attention. Number 1, you're gonna warm up at your comfort zone. After you're warmed up and you've done a bunch of repetitions at a very slow speed where everything feels super relaxed, step 2 is you have to engage the edge. This means I have to find the speed with the metronome or the speed of the song where things start to fall apart just a little bit. This is my workspace. This is where I get all my problem solving done because it is difficult, but it's doable. Once I found the edge of my ability, step 3 is to zoom into trouble spots and fix them one at a time. And when I'm fixing stuff, a lot of the times when I'm at the edge of my ability fixing stuff, I'm doing what I call regressions, the simplest form of that technique that I can master first. Now there's so many areas here that I worked on during those 7 days that I relentlessly worked on, and I zoomed in and I fixed them one at a time. There's probably too many to go through in this video, but let me go through the main ones. Most people, again, would just try to repeat the solo from beginning to end over and over again. So the first really hard lick, I mean, this first part is actually pretty difficult to get if you're new to it too, which is the... Luckily, this Frankenstein pickup is so freaking hot. It's such a good pickup that those tap harmonics are a lot easier on this guitar. But that, we'll skip over that for now. One of the hardest parts for people is these quick parts. So that part's hard for a number of reasons. So an example of me zooming in and actually fixing this, you know, and avoiding just mindless repetition is the first thing that I needed to focus on was the muting techniques. When I'm doing legato and I'm tapping, I need to have my palm resting on the strings above the target strings so that the other strings don't make noise. And this is something I had to zoom in and really isolate and practice every day. Instead of just going from beginning to end, you know, one of the first things I would do is I would come in and work on this. See, when I'm playing those notes, all these other strings aren't making noise, so I don't want all those other noise. So muting technique was something I worked on here. Also, Eddie Van Halen is really known for his unique way of coming out of time, like out of the pocket, and then dropping back in. And this is what he does in the solo all over the place. So he kind of starts at this speed, and at the end he sort of rips the last few notes really fast so that he lands right on beat with this. So it's like he's going, and those last 2 taps are a little bit quicker because he needs to land right on the beat and come back in with the band. And this is something I had to like pause. I had to play along very slowly with the record and like just practice getting that, like, you're out of the pocket, kind of in the air, floating, and then you zoom and you go fast at the end and you land right back in with the band. And so that's something I had to practice and zoom in on. Another thing about the solo that was really hard is this big stretch. Most people tap this, but Eddie actually does legato on this part. So on this part, that part was the hardest part of the song for sure, and I still feel like I didn't do it justice. But essentially, what I'm working on here is my legato technique. So a regression that I do for legato a lot of the times is I'll don't do anything with the right hand, and I'll just practice tapping my notes with the left hand. Because legato, most people's problems is they tense up and their fingers don't have individual independence of the finger. And so to really practice this, something I got from Tom Quayle, is to practice just tapping the notes with your left hand and developing that individual finger coordination. So that's a regression that I did a lot on this. Another thing that I focused on was I had to isolate my muting technique and make sure I was muting properly with this hand as well. And the last thing that I'll talk about in this solo that was really hard for me was getting this part down after you do this. So that, I didn't even do it right there. But so basically he pulls off to the open string, he does a dive bomb, and as he's coming out of the dive bomb, he does a pinch harmonic and a bend. So it's a lot going on actually. So that's something I had to like sit there and practice diving very slowly, get the pinch harmonic. There's so many aspects there that I had to zoom in and isolate one at a time and fix. So this is an example of zooming in to your trouble spots, isolating the details that need to be isolated and need to be fixed, and even doing regressions like I did with the left hand isolated taps, or just isolating the muting technique, for example. Then the next step, step 4, is to fuse the transitions. So this is where I zoom back out and I say, okay, now that I'm getting this part down, now that I'm getting that part down, how can I connect it to? So I'll work on fusing those transitions together one at a time. Now this takes, I've done this for so many different things now that's why I was able to do it in 7 days with this solo, but I've done this with really hard solos in the past, and I have a lot of practice with this. So that's step 4, fuse the transitions. Then the last step of your practice, you end with speed bursts. And the main thing with this is you want to choose a very small amount of notes so that you aren't developing bad habits. You want to be able to just burst the speed to practice developing your fast twitch muscle fibers. So I did this with this, just that amount of notes. And the key is you want to rest in between so you don't burn yourself out. Most people just think I'll eventually get fast if I just go slow and gradually increase the speed. And yeah, maybe you will, but you'll get fast a lot quicker if you actually train speed at the end of your practice just for a short amount of time every single day. Now, if you want to dive deeper into mastering individual skills like legato or tapping or alternate picking, I have a community where I teach these things and I coach you, and you have the curriculum and a community of people supporting you. Now, if that's something you're interested in, click the link in the description.